Hey everybody, this is Rydo, and we're going to do a 150 card pack opening of the new expansion Boomsday, which, just a couple of days ago I was applauding Hearthstone's new way of addressing things, giving specific dates, making it a little bit more obvious when expansions are coming out. If I recall correctly, expansions used to come out on Thursday, and then kind of this happens. Boomsday just kind of happened, and it makes no sense at all. We've got everybody gets a free legendary. If it's like before, everybody gets a different legendary. This one's probably a fine legendary to get because having already looked at all the cards, death rattles do play a pretty big role. Not as big as mechs do, but a pretty big role nonetheless. But yeah, it just makes no sense because this Boomsday project pre-order that is now missing said it was going to go until August 30th. It's not August 30th, it's August 7th. So I had not planned to open card packs today. In fact, I'm actually rather busy. So we're going to do an attempt to do an accelerated experience here. First thing to do, I guess, would be to mark off anything new. So I guess I could have left that there so that we don't have anything here. I have a ton of gold, but not 100 gold. So last expansion I was on, definitely I had over 100 packs worth of gold, but I do have 3 accounts, so we will still be doing over 150 card pack openings. The question becomes, do I want for my main account to try and get the few classic card packs that I'm so I can try and fill in the 1, 2, 4 legendaries in classic, or yeah, if I was to buy 50 card packs, there's a chance I'll probably only get one of those. So I don't think that's the right move. So I think for this main account, we are going to, for the first time, just open 50 card packs to start off with of Boomsday. So let's get 47, hit this, and buy that. There we go. And that leaves us with basically 35 card packs that I could purchase otherwise. So yeah, this is going to be a attempt at a more accelerated experience. So that's what spacebar looks like when you right click that. All of these cards are going to be new, and you get a legendary in the first 10 packs, and I got a legendary in the first pack. There's also a single player expansion, so deck rebuilds are going to come into play at some point, but I think what I'll do is later tonight, much later tonight, probably around 2 or 3 in the morning, is I'll start doing the single player expansion if I can do that. I don't understand why you would use the space bar then. Like, let me just hold down the space bar and see what that does. Like, holding doesn't do anything faster, tapping doesn't do anything faster. Seems like the space bar works, but it doesn't actually speed anything up. Really. You're still looking at these opening effects, which I guess that's the reward for your hard-earned gold, is to look at the opening effects. So I looked at all the cards, and those videos are out. just looking at every single card in the expansion. I need to just click immediately on things. There's really not a ton of synergies for at least half of the characters, the character classes you can play as. The mechs are certainly a major focus. And death rattles would be really good if you're playing in wild and could use Baron Rivendell to double your death rattles. But otherwise, a lot of the things that would be crazy synergistic. Hey, there we go. So we have a third, well, second legendary. Although, to be fair, in less than our 10 packs, I'm starting to feel like a lot of these cards that are made legendary are made legendary a little less because they need to only have one in a deck, and a little more because they felt the need to just have more legendary cards. That has been an accusation in every card game since the beginning of card games, is that some cards are labeled as rarer than they really should be, and that really gets into a minutia argument more than anything. So, on my main account and my European account, I don't keep Goldens. I turn them into dust. My account is just not at that point where it would make sense to do that. I have potentially, I guess, an opportunity to open up some other expansions. Like, we know that there is two mechanics that are well known with opening packs. When you open the first 10 packs in a new expansion, you're guaranteed a legendary. And when you approach 50 card packs, you are guaranteed a legendary. So theoretically, if you haven't gotten a legendary by your 49th pack, the 50th is 100% likely to give you a legendary. Now, I would love to see that when a new expansion happens, the 10 pack gets reset on all the expansions that are available for purchase. So if I could go and open 10 card packs for the classic card set, or the previous Witchwood card set, or I'm not even sure if the previous set before Witchwood is available from purchase to this store. There is also shenanigans about buying some of the older card packs. They have made it where you can spend real money to buy some of the old wild card packs, but you can't do it within the app. You have to go to online to Hearthstone's website. And you can't use gold from your account to buy those card packs, at least last time I checked. So that makes a weird experience too, where you're paying to do that. The only other option is to use dust, and using dust is probably not the right choice. I'm sitting on a considerable amount of dust because I am planning on using hsreplay.net in conjunction with Hearthstone Deck Tracker app to tell me what cards would be the best cards for me to use my dust on from across all of the standard set. Even though I've been playing this game for 4 years, even I don't feel like I can play Wild. I think Wild really is for only the people that have been playing since the beta of Hearthstone, since the very beginning, and probably people who have played paid to win. It's definitely questionable whether this new expansion is a good time for new players to get into Hearthstone. it's probably as good as any other time, but I really don't see anything in this expansion that particularly caters to new players, which might be fine. Frankly, a lot of people are getting bored with Hearthstone and leaving, so if they can do something to maybe slow the amount of people leaving Hearthstone, that might be better than trying to bring in more people that haven't ever played Hearthstone or ever thought about playing Hearthstone. The one thing that I feel that needs to be addressed with Hearthstone is going to be really hard for them to address is the win ratio just needs to go higher. And I don't know how you do that. Daily quests need to be less difficult, the win ratio needs to be higher, the amount of time you're required to spend playing each day needs to be lower to get the daily quests done. And general variety things. This game is so focused around the meta that it's just not fun to play with a random person as much as it used to be, because that random person is very much going to just do what I'm gonna do, and I'm part of the problem. I'm falling into it just to maintain a good experience. People go to hsreplay.net, they use that site to tell them what card decks to build. What are the top meta decks you can build with the cards you happen to have. Unlike playing Magic the Gathering in the real world, where cards are physical things that you're limited in collecting just by whether these cards really exist, whether you have the real world money to have those cards. I think Magic the Gathering, playing a random person in Magic, would be a crazier, a more varied experience, where here everybody has kind of a basic set. Well, yeah, every player has the basic set. Most players have almost all of the classic cards. And while I would like to have a full classic set, my next goal is then kind of up in the air. It's basically just saving money and gold to buy more card packs for the next expansion, so that we can have a pretty good experience as far as expansions go. But you're also in this weird position where classic cards are never going to, just as a class, become banned, where expansion things are going to go to the wild set and become banned from standard play. So for my Asian and European account, it makes a lot more sense to just have the entirety of the classic set and nothing else. So yeah, and I say it every card pack opening video I make. They're very, very popular. People love them, but I certainly don't understand them. Like, I don't... Ooh, double epics. I don't understand why people like them. In this case, I'm gonna go faster than ever before because of external factors. And man, if I had scheduled and known that today was the day, I wouldn't have made other plans. In fact, I may just have to leave early in this card pack opening if I cannot burn through these quickly. The one last thing I guess I can do is just... I've got 30 card packs. I imagine there are 3 other expansions I can do. And so we'll get like 10 of each of those. We're getting a decent amount of legendaries. Of course, now there's 5 card packs remaining, and that 50 pack pity timer just got reset, so the odds of me getting a legendary aren't incredibly high. And I guess maybe if Hearthstone gets forced by legal reasons around the world to publish the odds, we may find out that some expansions have better odds than others just by having slightly different amounts of cards. They're trying to be pretty consistent now, where each the amount of new cards is pretty much the same each expansion. I imagine they'll try and keep that way forever. So that was that. How many cards extra did that equal? Let's see, we have no extra legendaries, no extra epics. We have 10 extra rares, which equals 200 dust, and 91 extra commons, which equals 600 and I believe 35 dust. And I believe if I type in extra right now, then I can do this, disenchant this gold, because I already had 2 of those, disenchant this gold, because I had 2 of those, disenchant this gold, because I have 2 of that. So I'm at the point where I could theoretically craft 2 legendaries from classic set instead of, say, buying legendary cards, buying classic card packs. You're often given the classic card packs. Let's just mark all these new ones and see quickly what our collection really is. Let's see. Seems like we've gotten everything at least once in the neutral. I mean, are we in crafting mode? Yeah, we're in crafting mode. And so this can't be right. Include uncraftable cards? Oh, I guess the new filters is not showing me the missing cards. Interesting. I guess that makes sense. So there was 10 for each character class. I'm getting about 7 for each character class. Didn't get a lot of priest cards there. That's not a terrible 50 card packs to get you into this expansion. Have most of the cards to start thinking about them. Do I want to disenchant this for another 100? No, not right now. I think I'll keep anything that's gold otherwise. Alright. And we can just quickly see, yeah, there's a legendary for 1600 here. There's a 400 here. There's a 400 dust here, a legendary for 1600 here. There's a legendary here, a epic here. So a lot of epics, a lot of legendaries that I didn't collect. Oh, of course, actually this is not specifically filtered to Boomsday. Let's actually come to Boomsday and then we can see it better. Yeah, legendary, legendary, epic, epic, and let's see. legendary, legendary. This epic. Here you have a common. A common would cost 100. Well, this is a rare actually. And generally speaking, I do want more variety in my cards. So if I could have a complete collection on the standard set of all commons and all rares, that would be nice. Let's see. But yeah, 50 card packs really got me pretty much where I'd want to be. Hero replacement cards are always nice. There weren't any quest cards added. Neutral cards in general are nice. So I could do something like all cards, and then I could type in missing commons. Missing common. And like just craft these. These are the smallest amount of dust that you could spend, is to do this. And I can cancel out the animation, it seems, pretty easily by right clicking and then right clicking again. So I can have at least a complete collection of commons pretty easily, and that was standards, and there were no others. So then I can come back here and say, do I really want to start looking at like all the missing rares, or is it just going to be too many? Probably not. Couple hundred does to get the neutrals at least. But once you get to the cost of making rares for the once you get above making rares, the cost in dust is just a little too high. So most card packs you open are going to give you just commons and rares. So by filling in this, you're guaranteeing that you're going to get dust back, and pretty much only dust back when I'm running low on dust. It's actually quite an expensive expenditure. Let's just make sure we have one of everything first. Yeah. So all that hard-earned collection of dust is getting now spent, and I was hoping to get a legendary via dust for the common class, and clearly that's not going to happen. Yep. 3,200 dust just spent really quickly. Probably should have gotten a volcano. So there's still several things. And of course, if you were just to look at like all the missing rares for all the cards, there's quite a lot still in wild that I don't have, and quite a lot of missing cards just in general. Using that key phrase, just trying to get a complete collection right now is not realistic, particularly for new players, even people for playing 4 years free to play. I'm still very proud I haven't really put any money into this, but I think if I had put like a couple $100 into this, or like $60 a year times 4 years, $240, I probably would be a lot closer to being finished. Yeah, but still, we are approaching 56 pages of missing cards in Wild, where when we get to Standard, we are much lower at 32 pages. Alright, well, we've got a little bit more dust for the Americas account, a little bit more gold. So, we have this one, Journey to Unguru, which we can get 10 card packs for. We have Knights of the Frozen Throne, which we can get 10 cards packs for. And we have Kobolds and Catacombs, which we can get 10 packs for. And then the Witchwood, which I can't get 10 packs for, so I'll just get 6 packs for. They did all kinds of things too, and that no classics, I guess. They did all kinds of things to, like, increase our gold between this expansion and the last expansion, and it didn't really happen. Like, so, like, I'm just guessing that this expansion happens a lot quicker than the last one, that there just hasn't been that much time. Now, what would be incredibly insane after having spent all of that dust and probably doing a really dumb move in doing that, is if I was to start trying to dust cards that I already have, because the return rate on it is so bad. And inherently, that's part of the problem with this game, is that it's designed to only really suit the esports players, while Kriperian and Disguised Toast are having a fine time. The average player is struggling to have the cards they want, cards that succeed, or just anything fun or interesting to do with them. The opening animation on this expansion gives you kind of that feeling like you're going to get a legendary every time, which feels a little deceptive when you realize no, you're not. So each one of these 10 packs, if it was following my suggestion of the 10 pack reset, guaranteeing another legendary with every expansion, every time there's a new expansion, that would be really, really great, because that would guarantee that there was going to be a new expansion. Generally, though, particularly for my main account, I'm trying to keep everything at a complete collection on my main account, and then on my European and Asian accounts, which are much younger accounts, I didn't start them at the same time, they really just need classic card packs. So it's going to be a much closer to 50-50 split between classic cards packs and the new expansion on those accounts. And forever I'm under the gun, which that's fine, because every time I do these card pack openings, I just want to get through them pretty fast. Like, ideally, if I wasn't streaming, I would just open all of these automatically. I don't know if there's a way to do that. It's short of, I guess I could program a macro to hit the spacebar over and over again. That would be the easiest way. Speaking of macros, since I have nothing else to really talk about right now, I spent last night thinking about programming an Arduino, which is a system on a chip computer thing. It's not really a computer, it's more of a programmable device, and I was looking at it, seeing how difficult it would be to program it to act as a keyboard and mouse, which is by default super easy, but then have it work with a regular computer. So you plug in an Arduino into your USB port, that would power it, and then it would open up like Notepad and then start doing a text-based adventure with you. And so you would have to say, it would say, "Welcome to this text-based adventure. Press the shift button after each command, each sentence." So you could type in like "go north" and then press the shift button, and then the Arduino would see that you typed in go north in the Notepad, and then say "you've gone north. You entered a cave." Something that would, I thought that'd be like an interesting old school meets new school type idea. Sadly, as best as I could find, while you could recognize shift, caps lock, scroll lock, they're doing some modifications to an Arduino. The part about typing "go north" and getting input from a device that's saying it's a keyboard doesn't really work. So I don't know if maybe you could open a text file and save the text file and then have it checking the text file at the same time. That would be kind of crazy. That would certainly be a crazy way to do it, but finding a way to make two-way communication via it without using something like the serial interface, which most people wouldn't know how to use, or something complicated, is the part that is going to require some magic. Of course, that really has nothing to do with opening card packs, and it really goes to show that I just don't really care about getting more cards in Hearthstone. In all honesty, the only reason I continue to play Hearthstone is because it is an exceedingly slow card game where I can cover the video game news, which is what I do every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Is I look at every single game that comes on Steam, and I look at any kind of news stories and talk about that. And I play Hearthstone just as a visual background to that, and get the daily quest done. And mostly I'm getting the daily quest done to get gold to do the card pack openings. So it's this forever snake eating its own tail conundrum of I don't really care about anything that ever happens in Hearthstone these days, other than the fact that as a YouTuber it gets me views. And so this is the level of pandering I'm willing to go to, is simply so I had 2 extra epics there, and that gets me 1640 dust. So I got lucky there. Got really lucky. So yeah, I'm willing to pander to an audience. Let's see. So we've got this as new, this, and this, and this, and this, and this. And if I type in extra, I can then disenchant this for 50 dust, because I just don't keep gold. Like, disenchant that, disenchant that, disenchant that. Heck, at this rate, I might get lucky enough to get back up to the 3200 dust I was at. There we go. And so, missing now. How many pages of missing do we have in standard now? Did we get it down? We got it down to 31. Which, okay, that's fair enough. And then, of course, I have all of this. And I made literally no progress on getting these last 4. But okay. So that is everything for the Americas account. Let's now switch over to the European account. And hopefully the European account has gone live. If not, we'll switch over to the Asian account. Seems like we're doing pretty decently on the time. Alright, Boomsday project is available. We get 3 of those. We get a different legendary. This one is an interesting mechanic that's only for this card. Really. Yeah, and I only have about 80 card packs, so let's see. 40 and 40, I guess, would be the thing. And this is actual money, or I would actually buy it, but alright, so 40 card packs here. That gives me 43, almost 50, and we'll keep an eye out. And so I'm going to then just get 30 card packs here. And the reason why I'm going to do that is that's going to leave me with 10 card packs to make a decision if for some reason these 43 does not give me a single legendary after the first 10. So if like card pack 10 was a legendary and then I don't get a single legendary after that, then I will buy 7 more card packs, and that would guarantee me at least a second legendary. And I imagine we're going to have a tavern brawl that I'll do tomorrow, and in that tavern brawl we will get a card pack for the new expansion. See, that's now 1, 2, 3. They gave you 3 card packs for just logging in, but you can see that in this instance I haven't gotten a legendary in that first 3 card packs. Of course, opening the new expansion cards, all of these are new cards. The only way any of that's going to get turned to dust is by having extras, more than 2 copies, or more than 1 legendary copies, which you're highly unlikely to get duplicate legendaries, because I believe the system is now that you will not get a duplicate legendary until you have all of the legendaries, and you can manipulate that if you have all the legendaries of a certain expansion and you want a gold legendary. You can disenchant the 1 card that you want to come out as gold and just open ridiculous amounts of packages to try and reach that gold legendary. But that's for the likes of people with infinite money. So there's a legendary right on the 10th card pack. Take note of that. That was the worst case scenario. So now if there's not a single legendary in these 33 card packs, I'm gonna have to buy 7 more. Otherwise, I'll buy 10 more of the classics and try to expand out my classic collection. This is my European account, so I don't particularly want to hold on to golden. On the Asian account, I'm trying something different, and I am holding on to the Asian ones. But the reason to hold on to the gold cards was because if the there's another legendary, so we need to restart our counter. So now we're at 29. Well, there I just got a golden legendary. That's quite amazing. So now I'm at 28. I couldn't buy. Couldn't buy enough cards to equal 50 at this point, anyways. Yeah, the reason to hold on to Goldens was because if they would nerf them, you'd get a full dust refund, and then theoretically you could wait a while or open card packs and get that card at its new nerfed value and get a little bit of a payout that way. However, Hearthstone has stopped really supporting that because they now are making tiny little nerfs to get cards and then not giving the refunds more and more often, or they're just not making any nerfs to cards and just living with it. I would be rather surprised if any cards in this expansion gets nerfed. I'd be surprised if any cards in the past 2 or 3 expansions get nerfed. It would have to be something that was a gameplay mechanic thing that just interacted very, very differently, and I don't think something that they would refund anyways. There are a lot of hidden background mechanics in Hearthstone that need to be better explained and better just solidified, because there certainly are ways you can interpret what the card says and expect it to do one thing, and it just doesn't. At least when Yu-Gi-Oh! In its whole mess of how it was played across multiple different games with multiple different interpretations of the rules, they had a main phase 1, a battle phase, a spell phase, end phase. There was like 5 or 6 phases happening in every single turn, and how things resolved, whether a counter took priority over a spell or not, things like that that are not really mentioned or even talked about. There needs to be kind of a expert's corner in Hearthstone to say, look, this is our programming guide, this is how we tell the programmers to make the game work, and so this is supposed to happen. If you watch some of Disguised Toast's mechanics guides, some of his videos frankly are boring, but if you watch some of his mechanics guides, he will talk about how the mechanics work, and sometimes you'll find that the mechanics are working differently than the way they actually should be working. Of course, a lot of the mechanics too don't come up enough for it to be worth your time. I haven't gotten any legendary in quite a while, and I'm not sure I can buy enough cards to guarantee I get a legendary. So ideally, in this next 13 card packs, I want to get a legendary so I don't feel like I need to buy more. You want to be within 10 or 20 packs of your last legendary. I'd say 10. So give me a legendary. And there's nothing to really affect what cards you're getting. It's all randomized as far as I know. We're getting a lot of epics. Come on, 10 more card packs. Come on. I'm buying a lot for this new expansion. Had I looked at all these cards and found them to be all extremely lacking, I would have been rather happy to skip this expansion completely on my Asian and European accounts and just bought more classic cards. Classic cards are certainly going to last you better. If you're a new player, even though you may be super hyped with the new expansion, if you're not going to spend money, you should probably spend your dust, spend your gold on classic cards. Another epic. Alright, we have 5 more cards to get a legendary. Otherwise I'll buy 10 more cards and just cross my fingers and hope that happens. It's not particularly very often that you actually do hit that 50 card pack pity timer, because your odds of getting a legendary go up and up with each card pack. But it seems like I'm having a run of bad luck. And legendaries are so highly valued. If they rebalanced how much gold or dust it took to make a legendary from, say, 1600 dust to 400 dust, it would be a lot more balanced of an experience. We get a double epic, and we're on the last card pack. And usually what I would do here is I would try to do it a little bit differently and buy one pack and then try it, and then buy another pack and try it, and just try to work your way into it. But in this case, just to save time, I'm going to buy all 10 packs. There's no guarantee I'm going to get a legendary here still, because I believe we would be at 38 card packs since our last expansion. I'm just trying to hope. What this is going to leave me at is, throughout the course of playing Hearthstone, whenever I get enough gold to buy another card pack, I'm going to have to buy more of these card packs, just to not be sitting. There we go. So I could have bought instead, I could have bought 4 instead of 10. Odds that I get a legendary in the next 6 card packs, extremely small. But let's just open these quickly. We'll get more epics. There definitely wasn't ever a point where I didn't do the daily quests. And there wasn't a point where I wasn't trading out the daily quests. And for everybody, there was a point where the Ragnaros Fire Festival was happening, where the gold was doubled. I didn't buy any card packs. I should be able to open 100 packs per account, and I was only able to open 80. I find that disconcerting, because theoretically that means these card pack videos could get smaller and smaller, and they could go from 150 plus card packs to 100 plus card pack opening, to 50 card pack opening. And I'm sure people who enjoy the card pack opening videos would have a problem with that. Alright. So just on the new expansion, we have how much dust we can get. A bunch of extra rares and a bunch of extra commons. And then we very possibly have a couple of extra cards here that I can disenchant. So that leaves me with a decent amount of dust for HS Replay to help me build my decks better, which is important to note, because if we look at the missing filter on my European account and then just look at classics, I was missing 4 cards in the classic pack for my main account. I'm missing considerably more classic cards for my European and Asian account. As far as, let's see, Boomsday missing cards, yeah, there's quite a lot. 12 pages in total of just Boomsday missing cards. As far as standard cards that are missing completely, 70 pages of missing cards versus 32 pages, so a lot further. And then specifically when you start talking about missing all the cards, as far as wild cards included, that's 145 pages. That's a lot. That is definitely a lot of missing cards to deal with. Let's just hover over all of these. It's kind of sucks that there's no button to just say, hey, okay, I opened a bunch of card packs, I know these are new, let's move them off being new. This one would give me 1600 dust if I turned it into dust. Although, if there was any golden version of any card to keep, it would be a golden version of a legendary. So if that one got nerfed, then that would give me 3200 dust to turn that into dust. In the same way, if this one got nerfed, it would disenchant for 400 dust instead of for a measly 50 dust. And then you could craft it again for whatever its new nerf value would be, which is probably a lot less. There we go. So now everything is marked off. Let's open 30 classic packs and get closer. And generally speaking, I'm looking for epics and legendaries in the classic pack, because those are what I'm missing. Let's see. Most of these are going to turn into dust. That's just how it's going to go. But as you get the dust, you are building up a war chest of sorts to use that dust to filter out everything. So it is possible when I start doing the deck rebuilds and start looking at them that I realize, you know what, HS Replay is not giving me any suggestions as far as cards that I need to craft. So instead of using those suggestions, why don't I just look at all the missing commons and all the missing rares and just use all that dust like I did on my main account, and just get a diverse collection of cards as a YouTuber, kind of makes sense to have more of a diverse collection of cards than following just what the top meta decks are that are listed online are. Because yes, people in the chat can send me like the copy of the net code, the deck code, and I can try and import those. We've done that before, and build somebody else's deck. It's kind of weird that there's no great internal sharing metric for that. You can do it throughout the chat, I suppose, but I don't ever look at the chat in Hearthstone. So, one legendary, and actually that legendary in particular, is very, very useful. If we're opening 30 packs, 30 times 5 would be 150 cards. Let's see, is that right? Yep. So, it'll be interesting to see out of the 150 cards, how many get dusted immediately. I wouldn't be surprised if it is approaching 120 of the 130 cards. But it's still totally worth doing it this way than it is just trying to buy with dust that one legendary character. And at a certain point, I would kind of like for Hearthstone to just be more generous to new players and just say, look, you're gonna get all the classic cards by default as a new player, and we're gonna give everybody what you can do is you just say all new players get all the new classic cards, all old players get extra versions or of the classic cards, and you can then immediately dust those extra versions. That would be the fairest thing for anybody to do. Let's just say everybody who has ever played is going to have to do that. 1 second, I'm going to have to deal with someone knocking on my door. Okay, I'm back. Sorry. Like I said earlier, I had made other plans and then it became... Oops. There we go. And then this popped up without really as much warning as it should be. Alright. Yes. They should also definitely give just like all the wild cards, slowly but surely, all the wild sets to every player. They should have an anniversary event where every year they say, look, everybody gets a complete collection of the wild sets, not the golden version, so there's still a reason to try and do that, but just the regular ones. Hey, a second legendary. That is quite nice. Highly unlikely I'll get a third legendary. But yeah, if once a year the oldest of wild sets where you just got a complete collection, well, what does it really matter? People who are playing wild right now have been playing since the beta. you're not encouraging anybody really to play Wild because they just have one set. You'd still be extremely behind the curve. It would just be a great way to give card packs. Like, you could give a special card pack bundle that includes the entire set even, and it's just like, you are going to get these cards regardless. Yes, 130 of the 150 cards were dustable. All rares and commons. Which gets me up to 5,500 dust. Which is interesting, certainly. Disenchant that for another 100 dust. Disenchant that for 50. And disenchant that for 100. And then new. Or perhaps better to look at the missing cards and just see where we are now with classic expansion. We were, I believe it's 70 pages before, and certainly I could start just crafting things like this. Like that kind of makes sense. But I'm gonna save some time and not do that on screen. If I do decide to do that, I'll do that later. Yeah, we're making some progress now, as far as just having closer to a complete collection. There's still a considerable amount of legendaries, and it's the legendaries, particularly in the classic collection, that's gonna kill you. There's an 8 on this page alone. So 12 pages of classic cards missing. I guess it was, we're now at 68 pages of standard cards missing, so we got rid of 2 pages, and we didn't really buy any wild, so it really shouldn't have changed too much on this. It's just down to 143. And alright, I guess that's kind of good. I could certainly go in here and just look at all the new cards that I got. This card in particular gets played a lot, and it drives me crazy. Usually it gets played with the Sorcerer's Apprentice, and I was hoping they would either nerf that card, the Archmage Archidonus, or Sorcerer's Apprentice in some way. That would be my push for a nerf, by far. Alright, so that's the European account. Let's go open card packs for the Asian account. You know what would really help me more than anything? There are 4 accounts. There's a America's account, a European account, and an Asian account. And then there is a China account. The China account is behind the Great Firewall of China, and only people in China can play it, so you don't even see that one. Fair enough. Like, and that's a legal thing, and you get into politics of talking about that. Here we have a 3rd different legendary, but if they were to just allow me to merge all of the accounts that I have, my 3 accounts, I would by far have more than enough to see. This Boomsday project is still available, or actually it's not available. I've just realized that this is a glitch that's started happening, but this does say August 30th. Like right there, it says August 30th. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm confused about what month it is. No, my calendar says it is August 7th. It says purchase a card available before August 30th. They just put in a random date and pretended like that was the date. And see, now that I've clicked on the welcome bundle, I can't get back to that bundle. That's just a glitch. But that really doesn't matter. 40 of these cards. Again. and 30 of these cards again, and leave that at that for now, and we'll start opening. Same thing 3 times over. You really no difference between opening a card pack on the Asian account or European account. It's just what accounts they go into. The cards for me are all the same. The language preference is all the same. There's literally no reason for people to have more than one account if you're not a YouTuber with potential fans who want to play you. And frankly, at my level as a incredibly small YouTuber, legendary, okay, we need to keep count from this point. That was in our first 4 card packs, I believe. Yeah. So 39. If I don't get another legendary here, I could buy 11, up to 11 card packs. Yep. Very few people get around to playing me these days because I'm usually so struggling to do the daily quest anyway. There definitely is a push, if I was just to chase views, for me to be like a Twitch streamer and just streaming Hearthstone for 4 to 5 hours every single day, no days off, no breaks. But frankly, I'm not that focused a gamer. I recently was reading an article and just kind of seeing the ridiculousness of trying to label gamers as hardcore gamers versus mid-core gamers versus casual gamers, and like I was saying to myself, I kind of consider myself a hardcore gamer. I'm a professional gamer. It's my job to play games, but I don't want to play Hearthstone all day, every day as my only job. Like, I want to play the pre-recorded footage. There's another legendary. So we need to reset our timer now to 32. Our counter. Like, every day on my channel, something new is coming out. Usually a lot of shows are just Monday through Friday, but I've gotten to the point where I have so many pre-recorded snippets of Hearthstone live streams that they come out every day. Often when I cover a game and it goes long, I will put out an episode on Saturday and Sunday. I'm putting out 4 to 5 different series episodes every time something comes out, every weekday or so. Yeah, I guess that's what, every weekday, that's what I meant to say. So yeah, there's a lot to do. Either I'm playing in my earliest time slot, which is about 2:45 Central Time. I usually have either a point-and-click adventure game that I'm covering or a kids game. At about 3:45, I'm usually playing something that would fall into a category of a single-A game. Instead of being a triple-A game or a double-A game, it's almost an indie game or a very small arcadey style game. And then typically I like to play a double or triple-A game in the next time slot. And certainly I've kind of backed down on how much content I was releasing. I was releasing some extra time slots certainly, and I kept falling behind. I ran into quite the slump, which almost 100% can be attributed to YouTube moving the goalpost and kicking me out of the YouTube partner program and kicking all small YouTubers out of the partner program, because it was really, it's been nearly half a year, over half a year since that's happened, and it's just been bad for everybody. Even the biggest of the biggest YouTubers are taking mental breaks and holidays, and they're just saying, look, we've been working too hard for too long, and YouTube is just screwing us over here, even if they are keeping us and allowing us to make ad revenue. The way I used to describe it is I'd get maybe a few pennies a week in ad revenue, but it was a few pennies of well-earned profit, whereas now I'm really just doing YouTube for no good reason. And my only monetization policy right now is to ask people to gift me games on Steam. Just friend me on Steam and send me a gift card or a game, just to directly support me that way. I could try to set up a Patreon, but I'm afraid I haven't gotten any feedback from any fan that would even commit to like $1 a month. So if one fan said I'll give you $1 a month, I would set up a Patreon to just ensure that it always is active, but that's not it. And while my watch time certainly is high enough people are watching my videos for me to deserve to be in the partner program. And I had the required subscribers previously. They now want you to have 1,000 subscribers, and by the time I got around to 1,000 subscribers, they probably would move the goalpost again. But I don't really know what else to do, because I have a backup Twitch. I don't really advertise it, and it's got like 15 followers, so I would have to really focus on Twitch if I was going to switch over, and Twitch is even more difficult to deal with than YouTube is. So yeah, everything just kind of fell apart this year. It's not been a good year to be a YouTuber, and so eventually I just got tired and I just said, look, I'm gonna have to reduce the number of shows that air in the day and play a little bit less. And for the past 3 or 4 months, it's been pretty much that. Like, I know I want to continue playing games and making content, but also I'm taking it sort of easy. And what's really crazy is that this is during the summer months, because typically if I get slow at any point, it's during the winter months. So this winter, if we have any winter in the United States in 2018, is probably going to be even worse. I'll probably be oversleeping and suffering from insomnia a lot more than usual. Alright, so I just got a legendary. That resets me at 5. That tells me I don't need to buy anymore. Like, it's highly unlikely I'll get a legendary at this point. So I'm good. So I gave myself some options there while not wasting an incredible amount of time. I thought that was a good balance. I do want to take a moment to just look at the single player expansion, but as I understand it, it is basically just a bunch of puzzle games, which is something that needed to be added to Hearthstone a long time ago. It's been in Yu-Gi-Oh games for a long time. The Hearthstone has been kind of bad about copying previously existing collectible card games. Alright, so how many cards was that? 73 cards disenchanted immediately. And in this case, I don't really have to type extra, because I keep in the Asian account all the golds, just as an experiment. So I'm doing some A/B testing, as it's called. And see, I guess I could just type in new real quick and mark all of these off. A decent collection, certainly. Opening 40 card packs instead of 50 didn't seem like it significantly reduced the amount of cards you got in the expansion. And once I have a closer to complete collection of classic card packs, it's gonna make more sense to open like 80 card packs. Yeah, if I had a complete collection right now of the classic cards, then I would have opened 80 card packs, and in those 80 card packs I probably would have gotten slightly closer to having a complete collection of the new expansion, but generally speaking, it's about 250 card packs are needed to get a new expansion, at least last time I ran the numbers or heard the numbers. So 71 pages of missing cards for standard, and 148 pages for classic, and no, for wild cards. You can see that there's a decent amount of cards missing here, and most of them we won't get. Alright. So 14 packs of classic. That gets me down to that. And start opening. And let's see, how fast can we go through all this? 44 packs times 5 will be a, let's see, I guess that's 220 cards in general. We're really just kind of looking for epics and legendaries. I'm trying to speed up this process more than probably is realistic. So somebody would have to let me know in the chat or the comments down below of, is this too fast? There's our first epic. Or is this fine at the speed? 2 epics right there. And the Mana Worm, which was an old favorite of mine to play because it would drive people crazy. It slowed down the gameplay.
Golden Common.
Well, one of the things about YouTube too is that you can speed up and slow down the playback on most devices, web pages, and Androids, and I believe iOS. So unless you're watching this video on some, you might not be able to do that while it's live, but or if you're watching it on a TV, otherwise you could reduce the speed and watch this. Of course, then you reduce the speed and I start sounding lower in my voice, or if you speed me up, I start sounding like a chipmunk. There are definitely some YouTube videos though where I've seen people that are just so slow and they take breaks and pauses, a lot of what they call pregnant pauses in between sentences, which I do every now and then. I've started doing it more, so I say and a little bit less, and I prefer to have a pregnant pause versus saying and but I still say it a lot. And then there's a lot of YouTubers that cut out all the unknowns and then have videos full of jump cuts. Most of these cards, though, are just going to be dusted. And that's all they're going to turn into, is more of a war chest. 3 different war chests. Well, not much of a war chest on my main account. I spent most of that dust. Now, right now, I don't have my Hearthstone deck tracker app open as an epic. It's been a while. And it'd be nice if we see one more legendary. There's legendary. So now I'm gonna get greedy and say I'd like one more epic and one more legendary, please. Yeah, Hearthstone deck tracker app will have to be opened, and then I'll have to update my collection with the Hearthstone deck tracker app, and then it will report back to hsreplay.net, and then I will use that. I feel like I sound like I'm sponsored by hsreplay.net. I'm definitely not. I'm not sponsored by anybody. But I do talk about it a little bit more because I would like to find some advantage, cheat a little bit if you have to use that phrase, and just improve the win ratio. Like the win ratio on my decks are below the 50% point where they really should be. I make a lot of dumb mistakes when I'm not paying attention and when I'm reading the news. You know, miss opportunities. But the vast majority, I think, of my losses really do come down to just not playing the top meta decks. And so that's why when I come back and I start looking at these and doing deck rebuilds, which I think I'll probably do tomorrow, instead of just a regular stream. Like doing deck rebuilds from scratch and just having fun and making a crazy deck, if I can. That's it's become a lot more difficult as the expansions go on, because the expansions often don't add any cards. So, like, if I was going to make a new Murloc deck, I don't know if there's really any new Murlocs in the new expansion. Alright, so there I just got a legendary, and there's 9 cards. It's highly unlikely in these last 9 decks I'll get a legendary. I'll take it, certainly, but highly unlikely. I'll take an epic, too. Yeah. So, while there definitely are some Death Rattle decks and some mech decks that I can make in the wild, I think the truth is very little will change going forward. There's another epic as far as the expansions, because so many of the cards just don't really synergize, and there's really no great concept in this new expansion. It is just mechs and magnetism and death rattles, and that's about it. And there aren't quite enough cards that have magnetism in them to make sense to play like that. Let's see. 3 more card packs, and then we'll pretty much be done. Good news is there's really no reason for me. This will be an easy video to chop up too, because I'm not going to break it up any. I'll just cut off the trailing time at the beginning and the end, and that'll be the end of this the video as far as editing. Alright, so how many of those cards? It was 181 plus 4, 185. So 4 extra epics for 400, which gives me quite a bit of new dust to play with. I didn't realize I was going to have so much dust and new cards. Actually, I probably would still just do better typing in missing. I think more than anything else is just to give a general idea on classic cards how many things are still missing. We're making progress, certainly, towards finishing or getting closer to a complete collection on classic. And these classic cards still get played and will probably forever be played. For instance, Knife Juggler, still totally playable. Lore Walker Cho, still totally playable as far as a card. That and that. And then I guess new shouldn't really show me too much new. These are, I guess, the collections of cards that are now complete collections, because I have 2 copies of them, so they're not missing any. So that's an awkward way to display that. And then back to missing. If I look at all standard cards and look at how many pages of missing we are at now. How many did we knock it down to? We knocked it down to 69 pages now. And if we look at all cards, we knocked it down to 147 pages. So yeah, good progress all around as far as just working towards a complete collection. Let's see. And apparently the single player expansion is not here yet. So whenever that happens, that is going to happen, I guess, at a later time. So sometime later tonight, probably I'll be back and I will stream some deck rebuilds then, because the single player expansion is not here. That's it for the deck opening. Any suggestions on how I can improve or do this better would be greatly appreciated. Did I move too fast, or was that just right? As I said, I really don't understand why people like these, but they certainly do, so I'll keep doing them. That's it for this recording. No, as always, I end my episodes the same way. I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos, because all of that helps me with YouTube, tells them to recommend my videos to more people. If you want a friend or follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, Google+, Steam, or Battle.net, all of those links are down below in the description box. And if you want to support me, I'm asking people to friend me on Steam and gift me a game or a gift card. It could be a game off my wish list, or just any game you'd like to see me cover. And if you don't happen to have a Steam code from some other source, you can send that through Twitter direct message. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.